Like, really?
It's whatever. It's your dime. Okay. So, a couple things to think about with this tune, just general things, because again, the music, the written sheet music is purely reference for reference purposes.
Gotcha.
You're not supposed to be reading this, playing this. With the loops, it's really going to help you because you can focus on each little part and it'll play it over and over again and never get tired so that you can really take a deep dive in there. Now, there's only 2 chords basically in this tune. First of all, this part, the first riff 1, loop 1. Okay. The first chord, this is E flat minor, first inversion. Okay. So it's an E flat minor first inversion chord, going to a D flat major first inversion chord. Okay. So you play this twice and then D flat once.
Okay.
And it's E flat here, then B flat with your D flat major. So D flat major first inversion over B flat. Extra points if you can figure out what that's actually called. Next week.
Okay.
So memorize those 2 chords. You know that these chords are happening. And again, the counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and then with our loop, the kick drum is 1 every time, but you'll hear the piano part on there anyway, so
Okay.
you'll be able to follow along with that. Just think about it when you practice. Do a quick analysis first. Remember in your brain. Just go through your little checklist of, first of all, what are the chords? Play the chords. And then remember the count 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. Just go through that. Make sure you've got that. And then put on the loop. Play along with the loop. Get the feeling. Stop thinking about it. Try to make it so that you're perfectly in line with the loop. When you know you're killing it is when you can't hear the loop anymore.
Okay.
Then you'll go, am I doing it right? And then you'll hear it again because you'll mess up.
Okay.
But when they're perfectly aligned, you won't see it. They will cancel each other out, which is what we're going for. The second part is based on the first part. So the first chord is here. This is that E flat minor first inversion. All we're doing is adding a B, which is a lovely chord. And then the next chord, you take your D flat major first inversion and you add a B flat. Okay? You're just going between these 2 chords. So get this in your fingers. Convince your fingers that these are the notes that they want to play. You're just going back and forth, right? Until the very last chord, which is an A flat minor. Okay? But that's at the very end, so you don't really have to think about that yet. That's many, many hills to climb before we get there. Now, the bass line comes from this whole tune is in G flat major. Right? So it's all black keys with B and F. And it's a pattern. The bass line is a pattern. Until here, the pattern changes at the very last one. But the pattern, basically, you're starting, again, this is your G flat major. You're starting on B, B flat, you're just walking down the scale. In addition, you're putting a third on top. So that means you're just skipping a note in the middle here. So you got B and D sharp. Okay? In addition to the third, you've got this extra weird little note up here, right? But it's all in the scale, diatonic. So you've got B, major third, and then the next note in the scale. Then we do the same pattern starting on B flat, third, next note in the scale. A flat, third, next note in the scale. And then it changes, it's just G flat twice, and then B flat. Okay? So the bass note is just walking down, but you do bass note, third, next note, bass note, third, next note, bass note, third, next note, bass note, third. And then the second half you do the same thing, and the F to B flat. It changes. That's where we go. Our little A flat chord here. Now, to practice this, you want to do each one until it feels right, because when you get to the loop, it's doing the whole thing. So you want to be able to get through it first. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. Remember, this is almost, just like it's almost the same chord, it's almost the same rhythm. So it's 1 and 2 and 3. This is on the and of 2, right before 3. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Just do that a bunch of times, okay? And then you go to the next one, which is our B flat with our second chord, and then when you go to the A flat, it's back to the first chord. And then G flat is the second chord. So this chord just goes back and forth.